start with an opening statement. We'll go from there.
All right. Seems like we did this a couple months ago, so we're back. But we're really excited about the second signing date and the guys that we're bringing to the program, along with the return missionaries and also the young men that we got in the transfer portal. Before we go to the coordinators and talking about the personnel, I just want to give our appreciation and gratitude to everyone involved in recruiting, our recruiting department here on campus, all the faculty and staff that was able to help us out. Obviously, our players and the students on campus, the recruits mentioned again the energy that they get from being at the games and the competitive, the competition events here. That's been something that they keep talking about, wanting to be in front of our fans. A good amount of these recruits have been in front of have been at our home games and things like that. So they understand the importance of sports here at BYU. But more than anything, I want to give a deep appreciation to our coaching staff. These guys have been working tirelessly. I mean, they've been on the road, recruiting really hard, getting one of the best classes in BYU history, and then the momentum that they've been able to do in the last 3 or 4 years, just signing some incredible young men, and then also finding some guys that can develop into incredible players. Give a lot of credit to A-Rod and to Jay Hill and their offensive, defensive staff. They've been doing some amazing things in the recruiting trail. We've got a great start to next year's class too, so we really feel good about our program right now. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we can still accomplish. We're going to stay humble and keep working hard and staying hungry. That's going to be our key. But I do like where we sit right now, and have appreciation for these two men to help us get there. And I'm turning the time over to Coach Hill to talk about defensive players, and after that, A-Rod will talk about his offensive players, and then we'll take any questions you guys have. So thank you.
Okay, defensively, it was a big need for us to fill the shoes of some departing senior D linemen. I mean, losing Batty and Blake Mangelson and Banya and all those guys that we lost with playing experience, we needed to replace those guys. We went to the portal. We got Keanu Tanavasa from the University of Utah that I think is going to be phenomenal, maybe the best D lineman, D tackle in the country. He looks phenomenal right now in the weight room and through the runs and stuff, so we're excited about him. Tausili Akana has done a great job gaining weight. He's here, looks phenomenal. He came from the University of Texas. And then Anisi Purcell came from Southern Utah. And I love his upside, his athleticism. So those guys will be competing right away to be guys to get playing time and to be big-time players in our defense. We also added Hunter Clegg. He had just got home off his mission, and we're excited about Hunter. We recruited him in high school and love him, excited about what he's showing right now. The other additions we made right now are high school defensive backs. Landon Goff is someone we expect to go on a mission. We love his length and his speed. He'll play safety, although in high school he played corner, and one of the best playmakers in the state last year. So adding Landon to this group is huge for us. And then Jordan Chris is a 6'3" corner that we took out of Dallas, Texas area. He has great length, great speed. I wouldn't be surprised if he's competing with some of the faster guys in the state of Texas this year in track. So super excited about him, his playmaking, and the length that he adds to our secondary. So we didn't add that many players this period. Most of them signed last time, but super excited about the transfers and then these last couple freshmen that were, or these high school kids that we added to the group.
All right. On offense, our needs we needed offensive tackles. We were losing Caleb and Caleb Etienne and Braden Kime, two starters for us this year, and we've replaced those guys with some guys at mid-year. Andrew Gentry is a mid-year transfer from Michigan. Andrew Williams, a guy we signed at mid-year that's already here, and then Ethan Thompson's home from a mission, so we replaced 2 6'8" guys with 2 more 6'8" guys and a 6'7" guy. So I was in the weight room yesterday. There's some length in that group, and really excited about those guys. And then at tight end, we had, Tava, Ray, Keanu, and Reiner's going on a mission. We had the first 3 guys graduate, and then Reiner going on a mission. So we really needed to get some tight ends, and we signed Jacob Nye today. He's one of the guys we signed in addition to those guys we signed at mid-year, Blake Bryce, Jackson Doman, and Tucker, who's already here. And then we added Carson Ryan as well at mid-year. So had 4 guys going out and 3 or 4 guys coming in, and a couple going on missions, Blake Bryce and Doman. And then we also signed, huge signing is McKay Madsen at running back today. Very, very good football player. Super excited about him. He's an unbelievably explosive guy. Can play, can do a lot of things. He's going to play running back for us, but he does it all for his high school team. He's a really good receiver. He breaks tackles. He can make you miss. He's a really good football player, and we are fired up about him. He's going to go on a mission first, but I expect him to be a great player at BYU.
Okay, coaches, thank you very much. What we're going to do now is we'll take questions from the media. If you'll raise your hand, let me know. Ask a question, then a follow-up question, and if you'll please just direct your question to one of the coaches, that would be helpful. We'll start with Jared Lloyd and then Mitch Harper.
Kalani, you often talk about just adapting to whatever comes along, making the most of any opportunities, but this recruiting cycle, we've talked about it before, and I'm just curious, if you were in charge of how college football recruiting was done, what would you do? What would be the best for both teams and players?
Well, I mean, I think that maybe that question should have been done long time ago. The situation that we're in right now is where college football is at. So we have to go back and wish that we did things a little differently. But it is what it is right now. We just know that he tells us what the rules are. We follow them, and then we try to find ways to get an advantage and find a way to get a competitive advantage. That's what we do. I mean, you look at guys that adapt really well in football, and that's Andy Reid's a great example of that. So if guys don't want to adapt, then they're in the wrong game, and that's why I'm sure some people are out of college football. But I'm around an amazing coaching staff that wants to do that, wants to adapt, and then just we can complain about a lot of different things, but the truth is, the state of football, we're in a really good spot, man. You got an amazing playoff that allows 12 teams to compete. We're in a conference right now that's a power conference that we love competing in that conference in all sports, not just football, but look at the energy that it brings to our fans and to the momentum in recruiting. So there's a lot of really cool things to be positive about. But for me, it's just I'm not going to go back and complain about stuff. I'm going to keep working and finding ways to make it happen. I mean, you remember when they came out with the targeting rule? Maybe that's one thing I would change. The targeting rule is that they kick you out, even if it's incidental targeting. I'd probably just give them unsportsmanlike conduct, give them a chance to have a second chance of playing. You can get 2 unsportsmanlike conducts before you're kicked out of a game. So targeting, most of that's incidental. I think it'd be a good way to keep kids in the game and give them kind of a warning and make sure that they know not to be super aggressive, but then we're not cutting their playing time. When everyone's talking about playing time, that's probably the one thing that I would change is whatever can help benefit the young men, the players on the field the most. That's probably what I'll lean towards. So.
And another thing I was just that I've thought about as I've watched these signees come in, and that's the value of relationships. And with this day when guys are moving around all the time, is there I imagine there has to be an emphasis of keeping relationships, because you never know when a guy that might help you might decide, hey, it's time for a new start, and might, even if he chose another school initially, then choose BYU. The value of that, I imagine that's gone up over as that's kind of increased. So I was just curious about your view on that.
I think keeping the relationships is important, but being honest and giving good feedback. Everybody appreciates feedback, even if it's not what they want to hear. They just want to know how to go about their business. And so most of the guys that leave here is because they want to play more. and I totally understand that. These coaches understand that too, and we want to help the young men. So, but that's how we work it. But the truth is, we want to coach guys that want to be here for the right reasons and be here and have the same vision and are aligned with the same values that we have, and we can work with those guys. You know, if it takes too much convincing for young men to come here, then they're not going to do much for us on the field and off the field. So that's kind of, we're just going to keep going with that. It seems to be working, and the truth is, I get these two men to lean on and lead the way in recruiting. They're some of the best recruiters I've ever been around. So that's a key for me, that lean on them and their advice, and we just get to work.
Okay, Mitch, and then we'll have Jake after that.
This question's for Coach Roderick. You noted that McKay Madsen can do a lot of different things, an explosive guy. How were you able to get him to the offensive side? Because he had a lot of success on the defensive side as well. What went into that decision?
Well, I think the defense would have been happy to have him as well, but we really like him as a running back, and you know, he plays quarterback, like wildcat quarterback. He's a really good receiver. He does everything, but guys like that, man, on offense are fun to coach because there's so many different things you can do with him, and you can literally line him up anywhere on the field, and he can do a lot of things to help you win games, and he's extremely explosive. I mean, the guy can run. He's a 65-foot shot putter, which is, I believe he was a state champ in California. Super explosive kid. So, and then Harvey did a really good job. He was pretty relentless. The whole staff was involved in recruiting McKay. You know, we had everybody involved, but I thought Harvey did a really great job down the stretch because we were up against a couple of, you know, top 5 teams, and Harvey did a nice job. But yeah, we can't wait to have him here.
And you brought up Tucker Kelleher's already enrolled, and then Jacob Nye signed today. What are your expectations for what those guys can provide to the tight end unit this year?
Well, I want to be this year. I mean, you got to pump the brakes a little on this year with a freshman. I don't ever make bold predictions about what a freshman can do. We're always open to playing freshmen, and we do that quite a bit. But I think you know, we're really, if you just look at the whole tight end group, everybody we signed this year are good receivers, and it's no secret. We would like to throw the ball to tight end more. It didn't last year. That's just not really who our guys were. They did a good job playing for us, but those guys are all good receivers that we feel like we can teach them to block, and I'm excited about each one of them. And the guys that are already here, you know, and we already know a little bit about what they can do, and so, but good group.
Thanks. Jake, and then Jay.
Yeah, this question's for Jay Hill. And Coach, just wanted to ask, you talked about the guys you brought in on that defensive line, both transfers and signees. Do you feel like you've reloaded enough where you can have them do what you did this past season on the defensive front?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? And I think in some aspects we expect some of these guys to surpass what we've done. I mean, our goal is to always get better. That doesn't take away from anything we've done in the past, but we're always looking to improve. And I really think, you know, Keanu in the middle helps solidify that size that we were lacking. He just adds so much beef. And we have good players here, too, that he'll be competing with that have really taken a step forward, that maybe were in some roles where they didn't play quite as much last year, but that are going to be expected to play this year. And then I really like the way Anisi Purcell looks so far. So that's 2 big guys that we added. And then we needed to up our pass rush and just our ability to get after the quarterback. And I think we've done that with Tausili Akana, and you'll see Ephraim Asiata playing a little bit more. And anyway, bottom line, I think our D-line will be the same or better than we've been in the past, for sure.
And I also just wanted to ask you, Landon Goff was a late addition to this class. Same thing on the back end of this defense. What set him apart in your mind as a safety you wanted to bring in?
Well, I've liked him a lot, and we had him in summer camp. I've been watching him over the years. He fits our program perfectly. He's going to go on a mission. That was one thing that was important to us, but just because we're over right now at safety, His ability to go on a mission and take him in 2 years was big for numbers. But I do love his athleticism. He's fast. Last year ran 10-9 100 meters, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's much faster than that this year. So he gives us length and speed at the safety group. That's exactly what we're needing for the future in the Big 12.
Go ahead, Jay, and then Kevin.
Yeah. My question is more Super Bowl related than signing day. Hope you forgive me, but I was wondering if each coach could just tell me about your relationship with Andy Reid, what impact he's had on your coaching. Do you kind of emulate for Aaron? Do you emulate some of his offensive creativity, that sort of thing?
Well, I don't have a close relationship with Coach Reid. I've met him a few times. Met him. First time I met him was when I was a grad assistant. I had a chance to have lunch with him one time with Lance Reynolds. I'm sure Andy Reid doesn't remember that, but it was a big deal for me. So I've met him a few times over the years, but I'm a huge fan of his offenses. And, of course, yeah, we watch everything they do. And there's a lot of similarities between our offense and theirs. And there have been a few times when I've had a chance to ask him questions, and he's been great about answering. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk to Andy a lot more than probably I do, because I think I bug him enough. But I try to stay in touch with him, consider him a mentor. I've said this over and over again. His relationships with his players it reminds me of Lavelle. So he's very close to what I see in Lavelle, and I think he's the best coach in football. The Super Bowl is going to be a lot of fun because, it's you're running a great dynasty when people are sick of you being there. So that's a good thing that Andy's doing. But on the other side, Kellen Moore's doing some really good things with his offensive stuff too. So those are two friends of ours that we know really well.
He spent the day with us.
Yeah, and he spent a lot of time with A-Rod and with the offenses. So we have great connection to both those guys, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. But yeah, Andy's, I mean, he's the best coach of football. So we'd be crazy not to look at his stuff and see the things that he's been able to do, how he adapts. Coaching is a young man's game, but he's the youngest of us all if he's able to do what he does consistently. And he's been a head coach for in the NFL. I think it's 26, 27 years or so. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know much as far as relationship with Coach Reid. I don't know him that way, but I do know he's the best coach in the NFL right now and has had so much great success. So our admiration for him is huge. We're excited about watching the Super Bowl, and I would love to establish that relationship with a former BYU great, and just because we'd love to just sit and pick his brain. It's a pretty special deal, what he's accomplishing.
We'll go to Kevin and then Sean.
This one's for Jay. I'm curious how fast the Keanu Tanavasa recruitment kind of took place from the time you entered the transfer portal, and how much competition was there for you guys in that time?
Well, I think any time a player the caliber of Keanu goes in the portal, it's going to go fast because everybody in the country wanted him. He could have basically picked any school he wanted to go to. He's that caliber player. So it went super fast. I think Sione Puha did a phenomenal job with him. I know his relationship with Sione and Kalani was a big part of him coming to BYU. That relationship established right when he went in the portal. Bottom line, that was a huge gift for us that we're super excited about. And his leadership right now is already showing up in the weight room and through our team workouts. He's a phenomenal leader and an even better person.
And this one's for Aaron. How do you feel right now about the depth behind Jake Retzlaff, and how much growth has McKay Hillstead had over this offseason that you've seen?
Feel really good. McKay Hillstead and Trayson Bourget are both good players. Those guys have improved a lot. And Jay, I think Coach Hill will tell you that both of those guys gave our defense fits last season in practice. And I got great reports when they kind of alternated weeks going over to go against the defense. And I think they're both coming along. I have confidence in both of them. They both got real game experience under their belts. I think McKay started 5 or 6 games at Utah State, and Bourget started 5 or 6 games at was it East? It was
Western
Western Michigan, and he was MAC Player of the Week, I think, once or twice in that stretch as well. So they're both good players and have a lot of confidence that we could win with either one of them.
All right, let's have one follow-up question each from Jared, Jake, and then Mitch.
This question's kind of a broad one for all three of you guys. The recruiting cycle never ends, but this is kind of the end of this particular cycle. Just wondering if there were any memorable experiences or moments that stood out as you think back to, kind of that last year and going through this process.
They're all memorable. It's like you're gonna put us on the spot, and if we mention one home, then we got to mention all 30 of the people that we've been able to bring into the program, whether they're going on missions or enrolling right now since December and now. So it'd be hard to choose that. I can say this for all of us, that we just enjoy connecting with these young men and their families, and that's been super special for us, to be in their homes and be connected to their parents and get a good general vibe of what their family's all about, and it fits perfectly with what the culture and the family feel is here at BYU. So that's what I have to say on that. Anything to add on that, Jay or A-Rod?
Well, the only thing I would add is I do echo what Kalani said earlier. I feel like we got a big-time staff as far as recruiters go, and I would put these guys up in a home visit up against anybody, just because I think the assistant coaches did such a phenomenal job on both sides of the ball of just establishing those relationships that are so critical in bringing people to BYU.
These questions for A-Rod. Aaron, you lost your starting tackles as well as your starting center. And just give me a sense, give me a sense of how you feel you've retooled on the offensive front, both via transfers. You already mentioned the signees, the tall guys you brought in.
Yeah, we feel really good. Isaiah Jada will be a starter at tackle next year. I'll tell you that right now. He's very good in practice this year, and we were able to redshirt him. We didn't know during the season if we were going to stay healthy enough to be able to do that, and but he played very well when he got his chance in the Utah game. He was in the game on that last drive of the game. He's doing a great job, so I think he'll start at one of those spots most likely. And then we brought in Andrew Gentry, and we're going to give him a chance at one of those tackles. We know he can do it. Really believe in him. Also, then we have these young guys that have come in now. Andrew Williams looks really good. He's only a freshman, so I don't want to say too much. But Ethan Thomason, also a freshman. These guys are guys that I think can develop into starting offensive tackles for us at some point. And then Austin Leosa played really well at tackle in the bowl game, and he played tackle at Southern Utah. He played guard for us most of last season, but he's a guy that can go out there and play tackle too in a pinch. And offensive tackles is one position you can never have too many of those guys, because the pass rushers in this conference are so good, and it's a position where you have to have depth, because injuries are part of the game.
But to add on that, Coach Woods and A-Rod, they've done a great job at prepping those guys, because look at the number of players that we've had play tackle. Yeah. Austin's one of them, but also Waylon Lapuaho played tackle too.
That's right.
And then when you look at the guys that can play guard and guys that can play center, Bruce Mitchell can play guard and center, so can Sonny Makasini. So there's a lot of guys that can play different positions. And that's because of the way TJ coaches them and the way that A-Rod wants the best on the field. We have a system in place where we can put the best 5-0 linemen at any time on the field, and that's even dealing with injuries. So that's a huge compliment to Coach Woods and the way that A-Rod runs the offense to accommodate that.
Kalani, you've said in the past that you wanted to try to get those heralded guys to come to BYU on the first go-around, like a Puka Nakua in the past. Do you feel like that's turning the corner when you're getting guys in back-to-back years like Satawala, McKay Madsen? You feel like you're making inroads on getting those high-profile guys that you feel fit at BYU on the first go-round?
I believe so, and I think we're getting to them early. This next 26 class, we've got a good jump start on them too. So, it's recruiting. We can only do our part. There's the other side of it where the families and the recruit, they figure out where they want to go, what's the best fit for them. We can only do our part and show what we got, but I can tell you one thing: we have a really good team. We're not going to make a lot of statements about what's going to happen this fall, but we're excited about the program and where we're at. I'm excited about the talent that we have remaining on this team and the talent that we added, but I'm also excited about the coaching. I mean, you look at, I was just watching with the defense with Jay, and Jay's, I think the most common theme he kept saying, statement he kept saying over and over again is like, we should have been much better. We should have been so much better. And then I go over to the offensive side and hear A-Rod and Fessy and the rest of the group say we should have done so much better. So there's a lot of things that are very fixable. That's what we're going to try to work on from here in the end of spring and get to that position. And in the meantime, we just keep the culture rolling. This culture is not just built on victories. It's built on what we can get accomplished every day and then being our best self. So we're going to just keep working on that and then staying humble during the time and making sure our guys are always working hard like they are in the off season. So that's I'm with a really good group of young men, but I just want to keep saying this: our coaching staff, they're amazing, and the way they recruit, the connections that they have with their players, and the strategists that they are on the field. I definitely get the benefit for that as a head coach, and we're having a lot of fun right now, and it's been fun since we've all been together. So here we go.
Thanks, Clowney. Thank you, coaches, for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Congratulations on the recruiting class. And to members of the media, thanks for joining us in the call.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.